Hello there. I wanted to talk to you today about the lottery. Now, if you live in the UK, you're probably very much aware that the price of a lotto ticket has actually doubled. It's gone from £1 to £2 per ticket. Now, but exactly what is a lottery? Well, it involves buying tickets to have a chance to win prizes, isn't it? And winners are determined by a drawing or some random way of choosing a number. Now, often there is one huge prize, perhaps amounting to millions or millions of dollars or euros or pounds, whereabouts in the world you are. Now, the appeal of such an enormous prize is so great that lotteries have become the most widespread form of gambling. Now, this was noted by the World Book Encyclopedia. Now, hundreds of millions of people gamble by means of lotteries. Now, some people have reasoned that being involved in the lottery is not wrong or bad because the cost of a ticket, or chance if you like, is maybe small. Well, maybe not so at the moment in the UK because they've doubled in price, but because of us participating do so willingly, and because some of the proceeds may be used for a charitable purpose, such as helping the poor or maybe providing some kind of amenity or whatever. Um, so how valid would such a reasoning be? Well, some claim that buying a lottery ticket is simple, low-cost entertainment, and there is no denying the greed factor. Now, people buy lottery tickets hoping to win a lot of money. It's the reason why they do it. And this certainly runs in the face of divine counsel against greediness, which can be such a serious vice that it can prevent a person from inheriting God's kingdom. Now, hence, if a Christian manifested persistent greed by gambling, he would be excluded from the congregation. Now, how do we know this? Well, let's have a look at 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 11. I'll read that to you. Verse 11, it says, "But now I am writing to you to quit mixing in company with anyone called a brother, that is a fornicator or a greedy person, or an idolater, or a reveler, or a drunkard, or an extortioner, not even eating with such a man." So it couldn't be more clear there, could it? And if we just turn over the page actually in chapter 6, and we're going to look at verse 10, it says, "Nor thieves, nor greedy persons, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners will inherit God's kingdom." So emphasis on greedy people there. So the Bible says that an inheritance is being got by greed at first, but its own future will not be blessed. Now that comes from Proverbs chapter 20, verse 21, if you want to look that up in your copy of your own Bible. Now, if a Christian felt any impulse to take a chance in a lottery, he should think seriously about the greed on which the lottery is based. Now, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 3 tells us that greediness should not even be mentioned among us, but much less given into by a Christian. Now, the largest portion of lottery players are usually found in poor communities, so even if the cost of a lottery ticket is small, funds are being diverted that ought to go toward genuine family needs. So, in other words, they're spending the money, on gambling in order to try and create money, which really should be going towards feeding the family or maybe for paying for household bills, what have you. So, and every family has needs for food, for adequate clothing, for improved medical care, even. And a person who claims to be a Christian but neglects such family needs is worse than a person without faith. Now, let's have a look at 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. 1 Timothy chapter 5, and it's verse 8. "Certainly, if anyone does not provide for those who are his own, and especially for those who are members of his own household, he has disowned the faith, and is worse than a person without faith." So even the cost of a lottery ticket would not significantly harm someone's personal or family finances. That does not mean that others are not harmed. Well, why would that be so? Well, because almost anyone buying a lottery ticket would like to win. And from where would his prize money come? From others, wouldn't it? If his ticket costs say £10, let's for example, and the prize is £1 million, well, that means he takes the ticket money from 100,000 other people. So does that harmonise with God's counsel against coveting others' valuables? Let's have a look at Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 21. So that's Deuteronomy chapter 5. And here's verse 21 we're going to look at. Neither must you desire your fellow man's wife, neither must you selfishly crave your fellow man's house, his field, or his slave man, or even his slave girl, his bull or his ass, or anything that belongs to your fellow man. So in fact, this prize will involve money taken from many more people, for far more than 100,000 tickets will have been sold. So a goodly amount of ticket money must go for administrative costs as well as some of the charitable purpose that it was trumpeted to be for. So even if a person can afford the £10 for his own ticket, what about the vast number of others? Would they be able to afford it? Well, moreover, his winning will probably be publicised, moving many to begin playing the lottery or buying more tickets, even if they cannot really afford it. So there is no denying that bound up with the lottery is the dream of winning money without working for it. Yes, the lottery encourages laziness or appeals to it. The Bible, though, urges God's people to be thrifty, industrious, and hardworking. So rather than promote a get something for nothing spirit, and we heard a lot of that from the government recently, it advises if anyone does not want to work, neither let him eat. Now that's found in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. We'll have a look at that. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. In fact, also when we were with you, we used to give you this order. If anyone does not want to work, neither let him eat. So that's some good advice there, isn't it? We can also look at Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4, which also gives some further insight. So where the lazy one is showing himself desirous, but his soul has nothing. However, the very soul of the diligent ones will be made fat. So that's quite clear there, isn't it? So that others may share in the lottery of their own violation and that it is legal does not justify involvement in it by Christians. So some governments legalise other forms of gambling, as well as prostitution, even polygamy. So though such things may be legal and many people are willingly involved in them, this does not mean that such activities are proper in God's sight. So Christians, rather than strive to reflect David's view, which is to make me know your own ways, O Jehovah, teach me your own paths. Make me walk in your truth and teach me, for you are my God of salvation. And that we find in Psalm 25, verses 4 and 5. So, if a Christian generally wants to help the poor, or the handicapped, or elderly, he certainly can do so directly or in a way that does not involve gambling. So we don't want to sort of mislead ourselves into thinking that we're doing a good thing, basically, when we're wanting to maybe provide money towards charity by by buying a ticket, because that wouldn't be the way, really, would it? Because as we've seen, we're not always helping people, are we, when we're buying a lottery ticket, because we're encouraging gambling and maybe getting people to buy lottery tickets who really can't afford it and who really should be using that money to look after their families. So I'll leave that thought with you for today. And if you'd like a free home Bible study at a time and place to suit you, well, please navigate your browser to jw.org and follow the links online appropriate to your country. Thank you for listening.